Good morning, y'all, and welcome to another edition of Brian's to a Republic, where if you like little guns, bigger guns, and even a little bit bigger still guns, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. What else are you gonna do? So, our topic today, of course, a couple of videos back, we did an update on some upgrades that I've done to the wife's gun, and so far, I'm proud to say my highest viewed video to date. The one we're going to talk about today, though, is we're going to talk about my very first AR-15, which is now my son's very first AR-15, or when he's 18, it'll be officially his very first AR-15. But we've done a little work to it, and we had to go a little bit more in depth than what we did with the Pretty Pink Barbie rifle. So this is your stock, and it's upside down, of course. Not sure if we can get in where we can see that. Yeah, there we go. So this is the DPMS Panther Arms Oracle. So DPMS, of course, kind of not in business anymore, kind of is in business. So they went out of business and then they came back, being manufactured, of course, by Winchester Arms. So not sure if the Oracle's even still around. This was probably one of, if not the last of the Oracles under the DPMS label. Whether they're going to bring it back, I don't know. Well, Winchester will figure that out. So what we had to do first was, of course, this is what it looks like now. A little bit better, a little bit more refined, a little bit more user-friendly. Of course, we had already switched out, put an ambi safety in. I did put in a bad bar. Now, for you right-handed people, I actually love the bad bars. I know I get a little bit of flack from, oh, they're useless, and you got to put your finger in the mag well, and actually you don't have to, or not in the mag well, but inside the trigger guard. So if your finger goes inside the trigger guard, and I'm going to drop the, I'm going to drop the camera and throw everything around. I'm going to drop the green alien mag. Woo. Don't tell the guys at Classic Firearms I did that. Actually, they may be proud I did that. I don't know. The Green Alien by Lancer Mags, courtesy of Classic Firearms. So, and we are showing clear and still on safe with our cute ambi safety. So the argument is, well, these are just useless and yada, 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 yada. So the lower receiver on an AR-15 is really kind of a funny thing. It's kind of actually built more for a left-handed shooter than what it is for a right, if you think about it. Actually, it's kind of 50-50, isn't it? So, of course, your magazine release, really easy to hit with that little trigger button if you're a right-hander. Of course, the safety set up for a right-handed shooter to be able to operate with the thumb. Not as easy when you're holding it upside down, but hey, whatever. Now, the difficult thing to do, however, and still maintain your firing hand, is to charge the rifle, which can be done. Okay, never mind, I have switched out. We put a Break Arms Warhammer, which I've actually come to really like. It's really inexpensive, like 20-some, 30-some dollar ambi charging handle. Actually works really, really well. I've got a couple of these actually on everything except the Pretty Pink Barbie rifle. But I want you to go ahead and, while keeping your hand on the grip, go ahead and lock your bolt back to the rear. Yeah, you can't do it, can you? But with your bad bar, you can't. Now, you can also very quickly, very easily lock the mag, drop the bolt. So I actually do like the bad bars for left-handed shooters. Now, or for right-handed shooters rather. One thing that's really, really super easy for left-handed shooters, of course, put in ambi safety. Now the safety is easily manipulated for me. I can already drop my mag, insert. But one thing that I can do easier than anybody else is I can drop that bolt. So it's a little 50-50 as far as that goes. So bad bars, some people hate them, some people love them. I still say that if you have to put your finger inside that trigger guard to operate it, you are a little bit retarded, and you probably shouldn't be using an AR style rifle anyway. So there's that. So the next thing, of course, we replaced, we took that crappy A2 grip off. We went Magpul. We took the shoulder stock off. That crappy A2 shoulder stock. Now, it's a little bit more involved when you're in the DPMS. So DPMS tends to use a lot of commercial spec parts, such as the buffer tube. So first thing I had to do to put the Magpul shoulder stock on is I had to replace that commercial grade or commercial spec buffer tube with a mil spec. Now, not very difficult. Break the castle nuts loose, not a problem. Take it off. Watch out for that stupid little detent with the spring that sits right about in there, and he's a tricky little guy. I'm honestly not entirely sure of everything that he does. I should probably find out. What he does do well is launch right across the damn shed, because I launched that puppy twice. First, getting it off because I didn't realize he was in there. And the second was getting the damn thing back on. So kind of a pain in the ass. Make sure that you're aware of that. We switched up, went to now this is a CP Optics ACOG. Not quite Trijicon, but you know what? He actually works really well. He's got a really clear glass, 1:3 etched reticle with the optical, with the lit reticle there, due to the fiber optics. So again, he's not Trijicon, but you know what? He gets the job done. He's actually really, really nice for about 110, 120 bucks. Unless you really feel like donating $1,000 to Trijicon. Or you really can afford to feed $1,000 to Trijicon, and I just don't have that kind of donation money. Sorry, guys. But, so going forward, we went with the AT3 handguard. Now, this is a quad rail as opposed to doing an M-lock. This is exactly like the one that I've got on mine. It's only a 12.5 inch. Wanted to be like Daddy. I was so proud. I gave him the choice on everything he wanted on here, and this is what he went with. Now, I did, however, I replaced the barrel on this. And when I did, I went with a Diamondback. Diamondback, of course, another one of those companies that they run their own name, they do their own manufacturing, but they're actually owned by Taurus. So, but we do know Diamondback really well. This is our Diamondback DB10. He is a super, super nice gun. Really nice shooter in 308 Winchester or 7.52 by 51. I'm old, I'm senile, I'm losing stuff. But, so we did switch him out when we went with the low profile gas block by Odin Works. Switched out from the DPMS Oracle has a carbine length gas system. We switched out to a mid-length gas system, which is why I changed out the barrels. So there's some argument there. I know a lot of people say, oh, carbine length shoots, less recoil, all that stuff. You know what? I found it to be completely the opposite. Not sure who's technically right, who's technically wrong, where they're coming up with it. I don't know. I know the difference in the gas systems, and I do know that while the Oracle was a great shooting rifle, very, very reliable. I mean, you run just the worst junk you can possibly run through a rifle, and she just chewed it up, spit it right out, and begged for more. Run all day long, all night strong. But with that mid-length gas system, she is just so much softer, so much smoother. I mean, she is an absolute kitten. And then we switched out the silly A2 birdcage, which Dalton really wasn't big on. He actually wanted to stay with the A2 birdcage. Instead, we went with the Strike Industries. This is the King Comp. So we've got 3 little holes that you can't see right up top. The 2-chamber brake, and then just a little bitty crown flash hider there, which I think is going to work out really nice. I haven't shot this one on the range yet. The comp, it's very similar, however, to the TacFire King Comp that I'm running on our AR-10. This one has 4 gas release holes up top, 2-chamber brake, and of course the crown flash hider. So all in all, he was she is just a sweetheart. She shot really well right out of the box. Well, I take it back. Right out of the box with her. There was actually an O-ring that the factory had dropped from the extractor. It didn't quite stay on the extractor. Instead, it fell down into the bolt. And so when we first fired her at the range, she misfired. And that was the first of 2 rifles that I've actually had misfire right out of the box. Took them home, cleaned them up, and in both cases, it turned out to be a foreign object inside the bolt itself, which was impeding the firing pin from being able to hit that striker plate on the end of the round. So, very important, take your firearms apart. Take a good look, make sure that everything is in proper operating order before you put them on the range. I know that a lot of the guys that we see online, straight out of the box, and that's how they shoot it, and 2 rifles in a row. I've had foreign objects inside the bolt. But we got that cleaned up, and she has just been an absolute dream ever since. And since we've done her refit, she has continued. We haven't test fired that right there yet, but I got a feeling we're going to love that. It's perfectly gassed, and that is one thing that anytime you're replacing a barrel, in particular you're replacing a gas block, you're going to have to test it out, make sure that it's gassed out properly. I have just managed to, I may not be an ace at building rifles, but one thing that I have managed to get really, really good at is being able to properly gas out a rifle just by sight. I put the pink Barbie rifle together. It was gassed perfectly right from the jump. I put this girl back together, the Oracle, and she was perfectly gassed right off the jump, at least until we do the next set of upgrades, which possibly looking at a heavier buffer and then maybe an adjustable gas block. Actually, the next video, well, not the next, but here really soon, we're going to see if I can manage to do a really cool paint job on this big girl, or if my painting skills really do suck as bad as my painting skills suck. And from there, we'll decide if this pretty girl gets a paint job. But feel free, like, subscribe, add any comments. Tell me about some of the rifles that you've done upgrades and updates on. Tell me about some of the rifles that you've built. Tell me about some of the pistols you've done upgrades on. After all, a pistol is definitely a man's best friend. Until next time, folks, have a good night.